Hello and welcome to the workshop. So here we have the HPI Firestorm, which is going to get a small upgrade. Going to be removing these old style Tamiya connectors, which I'm not a big fan of. And since upgrading my TRX4 to these XT90s connectors, these were probably a bit big for this one, so I've gone for these XT60 connectors, which are a much better fit, that they don't come apart easily. The Tamiya ones do have a little clip and locking mechanism, but it's still not a brilliant fit. It's still not a very brilliant connection. So I'm going to be taking them off the battery and off the ESC and soldering on these new connectors. So first of all, let's get this battery out of here. We've got a 4000 milliamp hour battery in this one, 7.2 volts. Provides this truck with quite a lot of power. Tends to do wheelies most of the time. Currently got an HPI racing motor in there. Can't tell you what the turn velocity of that one is, mainly because I can't remember. Got a Flysky 3-channel receiver in there. I'm slowly upgrading all my vehicles to Flysky because I'm using the Flysky GT3C controller. I've modified the firmware for this so it can take several more vehicles, and also pretty much every function on it is customizable. It's meant to be 3-channel, but with new firmware it's effectively putting out 8 channels now, and it works really well for the DRX4. I've already updated this one, and it's just really simple to bind to multiple vehicles. Right, so the first thing we want to do is cut the old connectors off. I'll just zoom you in on this one. To the ESC, nice and simple, as long as you're not connected to anything, just clip them off. Please, whatever you do, don't do that to a battery because you will cause it to short circuit. Please cut them one at a time and try and keep the ends completely separate. You want to try and cut off the same amount of length. Just that. Now I just need to prepare the ends. I've got myself one of these nifty little wire strippers. Very, very useful tool. All you need to do is match up the gauge of wire, put it in the clamp, you get a nice even split. Twist these up. Make sure you get nice clean ends on these. I'll do the same with the battery. Again, gives you a nice clean end. And just twist. Now, obviously, at this point, you want to really make sure that these do not touch, because it will short out your battery. So, for the moment, we'll just put that on to one side. So we're now just going to tin the ends of these cables. I've cut these quite long. I find it much easier to do the tinning and then cut the ends off when you get it to the right size. So we're going to be putting on the female connector on this end. They are marked negative and positive, so as long as you follow those, you can't really get it wrong. What I like to do is also add a little bit of solder into these. And just give them a nice little coating. Just going to check the length. And then just trim them. Just zoom in on that one for you. So you're looking at not leaving too much metal exposed. We will be adding some heat shrink, which will end up covering these terminals as well, so you get a nice neat looking finish. And the main thing to do is remember to put them on now. There have been many times when I have come to do the heat shrink and then realised I hadn't even put it on in the beginning. Do not make the same mistakes I do. Right, so now we've got those cut to size, we've got the heat shrink on, we're ready to get this soldered into place. Right, so now we just want to solder this connector on, making sure we've got the right polarity. And we've obviously pre-tinned these. So applying a little bit of heat. is enough to just get that stuck in there. You can do the same for positive side. Again, just a little bit of heat will be enough to get the stick in, get the solder to take, and then we can finish up the ends of these with just a little extra touch of solder. Make sure that's never going to come out. Same for the negative side. So once you've got that soldered in place and the cables are nice and secure, just bring your heat shrink up. Try and get it right into the connector. And I know some people use lighter or whatever. I just tend to use the side of the soldering iron. And just apply a nice little bit of heat, nice and even around the whole lot. So if I end up with a nice neat connection and no bare metal that potentially could short. Okay, so here we've got the battery. I've prepared this one, so I've tinned the ends and I've shortened the cable. I've also put the heat shrink on both sides. I've prepared the connector with some solder. Now we're just going to make sure that we get the connector the right way around with the positive and negative connectors showing the right way around. And we're just going to solder these ones in. Again, I know I said this a few times, try not to let the ends touch. This is where it's a little bit more tricky because obviously you're trying to work in close proximity with each connector. And they tend to want to try and sit next to each other. Add a little bit extra solder in that one. And that one's connected. And just flip it over. And again, just try and rest that one in there. Try and get a little bit of connection with the tin solder, and then add a little bit more to really reinforce that joint. So now they're both connected, I'm just going to tidy up the connection a little bit. Make sure that solder runs into that connector really nicely. It makes a good connection. Same with the negative side. You can add a little bit more solder if you find that there's a bit of a gap. I find with a job like this you can't really add too much solder unless you go crazy. So just give a cable a bit of a tug. That'll give you an idea that it's nice and solid. And then, as you did before, slide the heat shrink up over the connector into the plastic. And again, just use the tip of the soldering iron just to shrink that into place. Make a nice good connection. Just that. We now have our nice XT60 connector on our battery and on our ESC. So I've just put the car back in. I'm just going to reconnect this. And we'll just do a quick check. That is a really solid connection. It's no matter how much bashing you do, that's probably never going to come apart. I've had several of the Tamiya ones that's come apart on me. So, receiver on first, I've put it in on the HPI, so we'll just turn this one on. Let's do a quick test. So it still works with the new battery. Right, really happy with that. Absolutely perfect. So now we'll just put that one back together. And that's another job done in the workshop. Just separate that one. Thank you very much for visiting the workshop today. I do hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more projects like this one going through the workshop, please hit that subscribe button and ding that bell. I'll see you around.